How's it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Nick Foles seems to be running away with the Bears' quarterback competition, and Roy Robertson-Harris is thriving at the defensive end position. Today we're going to be discussing these topics and many more. Welcome back to the show. Second episode of the day, guys. We're back to pumping out content as much as possible. If you would like more Bears content every day of the week and you are new to the channel, do us a favor and subscribe. Click the bell for notifications whenever we post. And if you are returning to the channel, like this video. I am your host, Chris Malpe, and today I'm joined with my co-hosts, Parth and Jaylen Clinton. Fellas, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Just got a little bit more homework to do. College is going into full swing, but I'll squeeze in some Bears videos to record right here.
Yeah, same. I just got done with my homework that was due today. I already recorded one video about David Montgomery, and can't wait to talk some more Bears football.
Absolutely. All back at school. That being said, I think we all love the grind. We're all looking forward to, we've been doing this for 2 years, but that being said, this is kind of our first full season that we're covering, so looking forward to that and trying to get out as much content for you guys as possible. So let's just hop right into it. First story of the day. The best performance from a Bears quarterback came today at training camp from Nick Foles himself. Another day where Mitchell Trubisky struggled with his accuracy, and Nick Foles apparently had a very clean day. I would like to remind you guys that yesterday on Monday, Matt Nagy was trying to push the quarterbacks to not check down as much, throw mid-range and deep balls. We all know Foles has a great deep ball. Jaylen, you can argue that as much as you want, and Mitch's is a little shaky, so that may be a little bit of an explanation for that. Also, today on ESPN 1000's Waddle and Sylvie, they had a panel of Bears Beat judges to judge who is winning the quarterback competition so far. That vote went 6-1 in favor of Nick Foles. So starting off, and Jaylen, I got to go to you for this question. We may see the Bears do what the Titans did last year and start Mitch and see how he does and bench him if he doesn't perform well. But that being said, if Foles does get the Week 1 start, because obviously I think we can all agree he's still getting his feet wet, getting more chemistry, which bodes in his favor. So if Foles does get the Week 1 start, I want to ask you, will you support him as a Mitch fan?
I mean, he's a Bears player. I support any Bears player, no matter how much I dislike you or like you. If Cody Parkey was still on the team, even after he missed that kick in the playoffs and, Pace didn't cut him and he was on the team last year and this year, I would still support him to a certain extent. I will always, be mad that he missed a kick to continue our playoff chances. But Nick Foles is a Bears player. If he starts Week 1 or if he starts Week 7, I will still support him because I want to win as a team. I'm a fan of the team. I'm a fan of certain players more than I am others. But of course I will support him. I'll talk stuff about him right now because I'm a Mitch fan. But no matter what, if he starts, I'm a support him. And if he plays bad, then I'm a call for Mitch. And if Mitch plays bad, I'm a call for Nick. So that's just how I feel about that.
Yeah, well, there was overwhelming support that Nick Foles has been better in training camp, which is kind of shocking considering it's only his second week playing with these players. There was still a panel that voted 4-3 in favor of Trubisky starting and kind of taking the Titans route on this one. But Parth, I want to ask you, I said it earlier, this is voting towards Nick Foles so far, and I think it's only going to get better for him as his feet get wet. Mitch really needs to step up in these next couple days. Obviously, we're in day 8 of training camp right now. Media is only allowed at the next 2 days, and if it ends up being Foles both those days, I don't know how I feel about Mitch's chances here. But that being said, if Foles is starting, Trubisky Nation, what do you think? Will you still support him?
I mean, 100%. I've said coming into this competition, I want Trubisky to win, but if I do think Nick Foles has been the better quarterback in the recent history. If we look at it, Nick Foles won a Super Bowl back in 2017. Yep. So Trubisky was a rookie that year, but ever since Trubisky's been in the league, they've both been pretty subpar quarterbacks, and even in the competition, they've been subpar so far. And today we saw that Nick Foles has taken that next level step, and Trubisky wasn't able to take first, which was very surprising, especially because Trubisky's been practicing with these guys all off season. So if Nick Foles can do it off of 2 weeks of practices with guys like Anthony Miller and Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet, Jimmy Graham, guys like that he hasn't played with as much. I mean, no doubt that Foles should be the starter. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if we went the Tennessee Titans route, gave Mitch the chance to take the job in the beginning and try to do what he can do with it.
I will say one interesting thing that I read this morning from, I forget the reporter, spoke about how much that Mitch has been relying on Allen Robinson in camp, and obviously, he is the wide receiver one, but whoever it was, I might put a link in the description to the tweet, said that Foles has had such better connections with all the other players on the team, and that just bodes well for me, thinking about it personally, that he's having good connections with players like Darnell Mooney, Ted Ginn, Jimmy Graham, all these guys. And I'm not saying Mitch only relies on Robinson, but it's just nice to see Foles spreading the ball out more. One more question about the quarterback competition before we get into, I'd say, one or two other stories that we have. I said it earlier. Foles is looking to get his feet more wet with this offense. He's spreading the ball very well. I don't think any of us can deny that. So, Parth, I'm going to ask you first. Do you think Foles runs away with this in these next 2 days, or do you think Mitch comes back and evens it up?
With the trend that's been going so far, it's been going back and forth. It's inconsistent. Not a big fan of that, especially as someone you want to have a clear-cut winner.
Oh yeah.
But hopefully someone runs away with it in the next 2 days. Whether that's Trubisky, whether that's Foles, I don't care. I just want someone to run away with it. But the way that things are going the last couple of days, I think Nick Foles has a better chance to run away with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead and agree with you. I said it earlier. Foles is getting his feet wet, and I think he's only going to get more chemistry with these guys as it moves forward. I've been a full supporter throughout this process. I'm going to stick on his side. I do think there's a chance that Trubisky starts week 1. We're going to have to wait on an announcement from Matt Nagy. I think it's really 50-50 at this point. I think it bodes more towards Foles if he plays well for the week 1 start. I think it bodes better towards Trubisky if it's more even though Foles technically would be still leading in the quarterback competition. But I do think Foles runs away with it. And we'll probably make a video sometime next week about our final predictions about who starts week 1. But Jaylen, what do you think? Does Trubisky even it up here in these next 2 days and continue that trend of inconsistent play from both quarterbacks? Or does Foles run away with it and continue to gain chemistry with these players?
I don't even know why you asked me this question. You knew the answer to this, but of course, of course, I'm gonna say Mitch evens it up.
Parth's switching sides like a pendulum. I know what you're gonna say every time. Parth, depending on how Mitch plays, Parth gets emotional depending on how Trubisky plays.
I'm just very upset that Trubisky hasn't been able to take advantage yet. It makes me mad as a fan that, come on, bro. How hard can it be in this? I mean, I can keep going on and on, but I'll pass it on to Jaylen because it's just whatever.
One thing that that reports are saying that none of these quarterbacks are being consistent. So today, Nick Foles had probably the best day of any quarterback in this competition. Tomorrow he could probably have the worst. So I'm gonna say, and the same thing could happen with Trubisky. He had not a great day today. He might have a perfect day tomorrow. So until I see some consistency with these quarterbacks, I'm gonna say Mitch can easily even it up.
But just as easily, Foles can run away with it by that logic.
But once again, both of these quarterbacks have been very inconsistent.
So in your mind, before we move on, obviously, based on what you're thinking it's going to be completely 50-50 throughout this competition. So based on who starts week 1, So based on who starts week 1, you're basically going to say it's going to be a coach's decision.
Basically, I wouldn't be surprised if we went the Tennessee route, and if Mitchell messes up, put in Nick. But yeah, basically at this point, until a quarterback shows consistency, we won't know who will be the week 1 starter. The first game is in less than a month.
Yeah, day 9 is going to be very telling tomorrow, and we're going to have content out on that. But let's move on from the quarterback position. Another very interesting story. So we all know Eddie Goldman opting out due to COVID-19 concerns. He's someone who has asthma, possibly could affect him if he gets it. Bilal Nichols moves over to the nose tackle, defensive tackle position, and that leaves someone that needs to step up at the defensive end position because we all know how big Bilal Nichols was there. When he had reps, he was very solid. So let's take a look at Roy Robertson-Harris. Brad Biggs has been reporting that Roy Robertson-Harris has been taking over in his one-on-one opportunities at the defensive end position. I think this surprises no one. I mean, Roy Robertson-Harris has been a player, I think, who has been bound for a breakout for a while. 30 combined tackles in 2019 with 2.5 sacks. 2018, 22 tackles and 3 sacks. A very good player. I believe he was an undrafted free agent. An undrafted free agent from 2016 who has been looking for a shot here on the Bears for a while. I think he's going to get paid a lot by some team next year. I really hope the Bears re-sign him. Looking at the past with role players who have contributed, the Bears really haven't brought anyone in because they've been good at breeding talent, I would say, especially on the defensive side of the ball with guys like Kevin Pierre-Louis, Nick Kwiatkowski, and Nick Williams heading other places. But that being said, how do you think Roy Robertson-Harris is going to do in 2020 at defensive end with this increased amount of reps? Parth, I'll start with you.
I think he has a really big year. He's had some big-time sacks in the past. Against Green Bay Week 1, he had that big sack. He had that big sack versus Minnesota last year in Week 4. So I think Roy Robertson-Harris has like that Nick Williams type of jump, puts up above 5 sacks. He's always had that spark to him. But again, I'm not surprised that he's beating one-on-ones, especially against our O-line. Our O-line's been really, really bad last year. So, whether that's him doing really well or our O-line's just struggling like usual, which isn't a surprise, though.
Yeah. But we've seen Roy Robertson-Harris be able to do it against other defensive lines, too. So I'm going to have to agree with you and say it's a big year for 2020 with Roy Robertson-Harris. I do think he breaks out. Do I know whether or not he'll return to Chicago next year? I'm not too sure. I hope he does. But that being said, I'm going to agree with you on the 5-sack mark for Roy Robertson-Harris. With Goldman opting out, it just opens up opportunities for a ton of younger players along that defensive line. Bilal Nichols will get more opportunities. Same with John Jenkins. Same with Roy Robertson-Harris. And obviously that also opens up more opportunities for Trevis Gibson, who will be playing at outside linebacker, defensive end position. So excited to see him as well. Jaylen, what do you think? Roy Robertson-Harris has been killing it so far in training camp. What do you expect him to be able to do here in 2020?
Do what he's been doing, except more. He has more, getting more reps due to Eddie Goldman opting out. Roy Robertson-Harris has been with this team for almost 5 years. He's going into this 5th season. He's been mainly a rotational piece for the last 2 years, and he's been a great rotational piece at that. He's always getting constant pressure. He might not have the sack numbers, but the consistent pressure is there when he's in the game. He's probably going to be a starter this year more than likely, and for him to have more, consistent reps to get more pressure and get more sacks on the quarterbacks, I definitely feel like he can have a bigger year. Like you said, a position where Nick Williams was last year, where he had like 7 sacks or something like that. So I expect a big season for Roy Robertson-Harris. Hopefully we can re-sign him after this year. But no matter what happens, I'm very happy on his NFL career. The way he had to develop into a solid pass rusher.
Absolutely, definitely a big rotational piece that's looking to thrive in Chicago this season. Final story of the day. Brad Biggs of the Chicago Tribune reported that Germain Ifedi has been looking solid and appears to be the Bears' starter at right guard. Obviously, he was competing with Rashad Coward there, but everyone expected Ifedi to start when he was signed. He's moving back over to guard. He played tackle in Seattle for 3 seasons after being a guard. His rookie season hasn't been pretty for him throughout his career. We're hoping that Juan Castillo can turn it around for him, like even when he played right guard in Seattle, he wasn't incredible, but that being said, he was a lot better than he was at the tackle position. So I want to ask you, Parth, are you confident with Ifedi starting at right guard this year?
I'm gonna say
it's a tough question to say yes to.
I'm not gonna say yes. I'm not confident of this whole O-line to be specific, and I feel like Ifedi's actually one of the weaker parts of that O-line that's already weak. So I'm not confident with Ifedi there.
Yeah, I can't say I'm too confident either. I've said it all offseason. I just hope this line's salvageable. I'm not sure if it's going to be salvageable. Zach Pearson said a couple days ago that he's still seen some struggles. It's been a little bit more consistent. But I just hope for a top 25 line here in 2020. So, Jaylen, final question of the show. That sounds bad. We were 27th last year. Any improvements will be able to help the run game, especially with David Montgomery going down. So, Jaylen, how do you feel about Ifedi starting at right guard? Because it seems like it's pretty official that he'll suit up there week 1 in Detroit.
I didn't want it to happen, but at this point, I can't do nothing about it. I'm just a fan of the Bears. I'm not very confident in this offensive line either. I'm pretty sure he got decent competition from Rashad Coward and Alex Barnes and Jason Spriggs and stuff like that. But until until we get on the field and he shows me he can actually block a different pass rusher, that's actually trying to sack the quarterback and, not just doing it to put in reps, I'm not going to be confident at all. I'm still worried some about Leno. He didn't have the best year last year. In Massey, he's solid, but he's still not the best. So the offensive line it still gets me worried, especially with, David Montgomery going down, and we don't know who's going to be the starting running back week 1.
Yeah, so an action-filled day 8 of training camp for the Bears. We're going to keep doing these every day. You guys have loved these training camp recap videos, and even though we're in school, we're going to continue to embrace the grind and get as much content out for you guys as possible. Thank you guys so much for tuning into episode number 70 of Uncut. If you want more content from us, you can head over to our website, bearddown.com. We're posting a ton of articles on there. There's a lot more to write about now, so we're trying to get stuff up on there, I would say, every other day. Once again, that's bearddown.com. If you want sneak peeks of podcasts and stuff like that, if you want to help us decide what to post, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Beared Down. We have another great guest coming on Friday who I haven't even told the boys about yet, but if you want a sneak peek of that interview, you guys can head over to our social media. You can also find the Instagram fan pages of me, Parth, and Jaylen down in the description. Those are some great follows as well. Crazy world we live in right now, guys. We're all back at college. I want to ask you one non-football related question before we sign off, and I think we'll have a pretty consensus answer here. Parth, Jaylen, These are your last words, but how do you guys feel about these NBA boycotts that are going on today?
It's needed. There needs to be a change in this world, and I think the way to do that is by forcing it upon, letting the world know that they're here to take a stand. They're just not players. They're also human beings who need to be treated right, and everyone's just fighting for equality, which we all stand by here at Beared Down.
Yeah, I got to go ahead and agree with you. It's much bigger than basketball. We were discussing it earlier. It's bigger than basketball. There's issues that need to be fixed on this planet, and I sure hope that those issues can be fixed as soon as possible. Jaylen, last words, buddy?
I can't express how I really want to feel because I don't want to get our channel demonetized. But about the boycotts, I freaking love it. I love how these men are using their platforms for something bigger than themselves and bigger than like you said, the game of basketball. And like everybody say, or not everybody, but change needs to happen. Something like this should have been done with. And I hate that it keeps happening in this world.
Yeah.
Like I said, we need change in this world, and hopefully it'll come.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Definitely a longer episode of Uncut, but we love doing it for you guys. Once again, I'm your host, Chris Malpe. It's been a pleasure. Bears fans, continue to stay safe, and as always, bear down. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.